Okay. Have you ever felt that 3 p.m. slump really kick in? The whole office goes quiet. Not because everyone's deep in focus, but more like mentally just drained,
Yeah.
staring at screens.
Oh, absolutely. That blank stare phase.
Exactly. That's brain fog, right? Something so many of us deal with, especially at work. So today, we're diving deep into your sources. We've got articles, research, some really interesting observations to try and unpack this whole brain fog thing, what it really is, why it's so common in our work lives. And maybe the surprising part, how the answer might not just be more coffee, but actually smarter nutrition.
Right. Moving beyond the quick fixes.
That's the mission for you in this deep dive. Pull out the key knowledge, hope you understand the what and the why behind mental clarity, and, what you can actually do about it. So let's start right there. We all talk about brain fog, but what is it really? Like beyond just feeling a bit tired?
Yeah, it's a good question because brain fog itself, it isn't like a formal medical diagnosis, but it describes a very real state that loads of people experience. It's basically a cluster of things like trouble concentrating, finding it hard to recall stuff, your thoughts feel kind of slow, sluggish, and just this general mental fatigue that can really weigh you down.
Yeah, like your brain's running on low battery.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's operating at maybe 70%, maybe even less sometimes.
Yeah, that nails it. So what are the usual suspects? What triggers this feeling, especially when we're, in the office?
Well, in that workplace setting, several things pop up again and again. Poor sleep is a huge one.
Right. Foundational.
Totally. Your brain needs sleep to, clear out waste, consolidate memories. Without enough, things just don't work right. Then there's eating patterns, skipping meals, or maybe relying on sugary snacks.
The vending machine trap.
Yeah, that leads to blood sugar spikes, then crashes. So your brain's fuel supply is all over the place. And something often missed, micronutrient deficiencies. Shortages in key vitamins, minerals.
Like what specifically?
Things like magnesium, B12 is a big one, iron, vitamin D. These aren't just optional extras. They're crucial for brain processes. And of course, you've got chronic stress and just not drinking enough water, dehydration, both major fog contributors.
Man, I think we've all had that moment. You open an email, look away for 5 seconds, and completely forget why you even opened it.
Exactly.
That's the brain fog, frustration in action. So how does this affect more than just us individually? What's the impact on the whole office, the team?
It's definitely more than just a personal headache. When employees are dealing with brain fog, it ripples outwards. You see decreased focus across the board, more errors creeping in, tasks take longer, and just a general dip in engagement. People aren't really there. And that can lead to lower job satisfaction, can even strain team dynamics if people feel they're carrying extra weight,
Yeah, I can see that.
And here's a really stark number from your sources, a study from the University of Birmingham. They found employees can lose, get this, 20 to 25% of their mental performance during those afternoon slumps.
Wow, a quarter.
A quarter. And they linked it largely to poor hydration and nutrition. That's a huge chunk of brain power, just gone.
20 to 25%. That's not just feeling a bit off. That's a massive hit to productivity. It really makes you think about the hidden cost there.
No.
So, okay, our brains are these super demanding organs. How does what we actually eat and drink connect to how well they perform?
Well, your brain is incredibly energy hungry. It uses a huge portion of your body's total energy. It needs constant fuel, specifically glucose for energy, oxygen, obviously, and crucially, a steady stream of micronutrients. These little things facilitate all the complex signaling and processing. If it doesn't get that steady supply, it just can't operate at its peak. Even being low on one key nutrient can create a bottleneck, slowing everything down. Think processing speed, memory.
That makes sense. It's not just about calories. It's about the quality of the fuel.
Yeah.
So digging into the science a bit more, which nutrients are the real heroes for clarity?
Yeah, the science is getting pretty clear on a few key players. The vitamin B complex, for instance, is absolutely vital.
Okay, B vitamins, why them?
They're essential for energy metabolism within the brain cells themselves. They directly help reduce that feeling of fatigue. In fact, there was this big meta-analysis, basically a study of studies, looking at 18 high-quality trials.
Right.
It showed B vitamin complexes significantly boosted mood and cognitive function when people were mentally tired. They even saw more brain activity during memory tasks.
Interesting. What else?
Magnesium, super important. It helps calm the nervous system, supports loads of brain functions. Omega-3s, especially DHA and EPA, essential for the actual structure of brain cells. Big impact on memory, mood.
Okay.
Vitamin D. So many office workers are low on this because, we're indoors. It affects mood, fatigue levels.
Yeah, the sunshine vitamin.
Exactly. And iron, along with zinc, they're critical for getting oxygen to the brain and for neurotransmitters to work properly. Being deficient in any of these, you can see measurable drops in attention, memory, how fast you process things.
Okay, so it suddenly becomes crystal clear why grabbing that sugary snack gives you that quick buzz, but then, bam, the crash.
Precisely. It's a roller coaster your brain doesn't appreciate. That quick sugar hit, it's like a flash in the pan, doesn't last.
Right.
We actually saw this in a small internal trial we ran. We swapped out the usual afternoon coffee for a high-protein snack and some magnesium-infused water for a week.
Yeah.
The difference reported in sustained energy, less of that slump. It was really noticeable for the participants involved. And look at the stat from the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine. They found micronutrient supplements could boost cognitive performance by up to 15% in employees who are under stress.
15% just from supplements. Wow.
Under stress, yeah. And other studies show real improvements in things like working memory, processing speed, even learning, just within, say, 8 weeks of consistent supplementation in healthy adults. And zooming out again, that huge employee sample, nearly 20,000 people, those with poor diets were 66% more likely to report lost productivity.
Wow.
And not enough exercise or fruit and veg. That correlated with productivity drops of like 96% and 93% respectively. It's all connected.
It really paints a picture. These aren't just fringe benefits. They're almost like essential maintenance for our brains at work. Which leads to the big question, right? If getting everything perfect from our diet all the time is tough, especially with busy schedules.
Yeah, it's a real challenge.
Is this where supplements start to make sense?
It's a very practical point. For many people, especially in a demanding work environment, consistently hitting all those nutrient targets just through food alone, it is difficult. And that's where supplements come in, but not as like magic energy pills, not like caffeine.
Okay, so how should we think about them?
Think of them as tools, intelligent tools to fill specific nutritional gaps. They help support consistent energy by ensuring your brain has those fundamental building blocks it needs day in, day out, which then helps reduce those awful crash periods. And over time, it can genuinely improve mood, resilience to stress. And the research supporting this is pretty solid now. There's a huge trial, Cosmos, over 5,000 people involved, ran for 2 or 3 years.
Okay, what did they find?
Really profound results, actually. Daily multivitamin use was linked to slower cognitive aging, equivalent to about 2 years difference.
2 years. Just from a multivitamin.
That's what the data suggested, yeah. Significant improvements in overall cognition and memory recall, too. It points towards a real, tangible, long-term benefit for keeping your brain healthy with that consistent nutrient support.
Slowing cognitive aging by 2 years. That's seriously compelling stuff. So for HR teams or anyone managing people wanting to support their teams, the benefit seems clear, but then there's the practical side. How do you actually do this effectively for a whole team? You can't become everyone's personal nutritionist, right?
Exactly. That's the bottleneck, isn't it? And that's precisely where we're seeing these new innovative solutions starting to pop up. They're trying to tackle that challenge.
Yeah.
How do you deliver personalized wellness support, but at scale?
Right. Moving beyond just like a fruit bowl.
Definitely. The real shift isn't just a fancier vending machine. It's about using data, maybe even AI, to offer more tailored support. Moving from generic perks to things that actually target individual needs. This could really change how companies proactively boost not just well-being, but actual cognitive performance. And one example that came up in your sources is this Office Sweet Spot.
Yes, I saw that mentioned.
It's being pitched as the first AI-backed wellness shelf for offices.
AI-backed? How does that work?
Well, the idea is it uses AI to suggest personalized supplements. Then it delivers these, along with targeted healthy snacks, right there in the office through this, smart shelf system. It handles monthly restocks, can send out health prompts. The main selling point seems to be ease of use. You set it up and it runs. No major training needed for staff.
Interesting. Like personalized nutrition on autopilot.
Sort of, yeah. And they shared a use case. One partner office reported fewer sick days and just better energy in meetings after they brought it in. And think about the economics. If the average sick day costs a company, say, $140 to $250 a day in lost productivity.
Oof, yeah.
Preventing even a handful of those days per employee per year through better support, the numbers could add up pretty quickly.
That definitely shows how technology is trying to bridge that gap from the science to something practical you can actually implement. Okay, so let's bring it all home. If you're listening and thinking about your team or even just yourself, what does this all mean? What are the key takeaways for boosting clarity and energy at work?
Okay, some quick actionable tips thinking about both HR folks and individuals. First, the simple stuff. Make healthy, brain-boosting snacks visible and easy to grab. Keep the junk food maybe out of sight, out of mind.
Makes sense. Environment matters.
Totally. Second, maybe consider encouraging or facilitating a simple monthly supplement habit. Even starting with something foundational like magnesium or a B complex can make a noticeable difference for many. Third, actively promote hydration and nutrition breaks. Not just another coffee run. Encourage water, maybe a healthy snack break.
Good point. Reclaim the break.
Exactly. And finally, and this is key, remember, well-being isn't one size fits all. Make it personal. Empower people to figure out what truly works for them.
So if you were looking to bring more clarity, more sustained energy, maybe fewer of those UG meetings,
We could all use fewer of those.
it might be worth exploring solutions like Office Sweet Spot. It's an example of how this AI-powered wellness approach is aiming to help people genuinely feel and perform better at work. And maybe here's a final thought that you want. What if optimizing our brain's fuel isn't just about dodging that afternoon slump?
Mm-hmm.
What if it's actually about unlocking a deeper, more sustained level of creativity, focus, and even like collaborative energy for everyone in the workplace? What could that look like?